Hello, my name is Sean and I am an English teacher, an excellent English teacher. I'm going to tell you a little bit about why I think I'm a good teacher, a little bit about myself and my experience related to teaching. So first of all, I'm 24 years old, I am from London and I've been living in Colombia for about 8 months teaching. Previous to teaching, I studied politics in Nottingham. So after I finished studying politics, I always knew I wanted to teach English. So I did a CELTA course. This is the highest qualification you can get, and I also achieved a Pass B with this, which is higher than the average. 80% of people get a pass, and I got a Pass B, so I was above. Then I worked in a secondary school in London as a teaching assistant for about 6 months, and then I moved to Colombia and I have been teaching English here for about 8 months. I will have a year's experience by the end of this year. I've also done private tutoring, so one-on-one or one-on-two for maths and physics when I was in England, and here I have done that teaching English. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about my teaching style. This year I have been teaching in neighbour, and I've been teaching in public schools of ages between about 12 to 17, and it's about 40 students at once. So that tells you a little bit about the dynamic of the classroom. I've also taught much older ages one-on-one. I've taught up to 50-year-olds and down to 9-year-olds. So when I teach, I really like to create a relaxed atmosphere. I like to just make sure that the students are having fun. Not that it's disruptive, but I feel that when things are relaxed and students want to learn on their terms, that's when you create the best learning environment. For example, I would never shout at a student. So I would often like to start with a game and finish with a game. I like to have lots of activities, different activities, so students are always interested in what you're doing. They're never distracted, they're never bored. This might not necessarily be a problem with you, but as I said, I teach a class of 40 and neighbour is quite hot, and by the end of a lesson, at the end of a day, students can be really restless, and it's always good to have something up your sleeve. I also like to use any different resources that I have available. So for example, if it's a new lesson about vocabulary, then I would like to use images, just so people have visual learning. Often games also, where people stand up, move around, so we have kinesthetic learning. So I do like to mix it up. This is not to say that my lesson lacks structure, and it's of the utmost importance that I am focusing on some piece of vocabulary or grammar or fluency. Basically, I always have a lesson aim, and that is paramount. One other thing I would say that is vitally important to me is that I know how my students learn best. I know what they struggle with, what they want to work on, and I can tap into how they like to learn. Okay, I think that's all I have to say about that. You should choose me because we will definitely have fun.